Change is inevitable, but growth is on purpose. Today, I want to take you back to a time that changed a lot of lives and it changed a lot for many of us. It's March of 2020, and you and me, like many of us, were dealing with COVID, the whole rest of the world. We were dealing with the start of COVID 19. And for me, this was a big time for change. For you, I'm sure it was a big time for change. I personally had to close my office and I had to set up a new workspace at home. And my new office, it wasn't just at home because during that time, most of my kids were still at home as well. So, in order for me to have like a quiet space, a quiet place where I could go, I had to set it up in the garage. I had to be away from everybody. And in the garage, I was surrounded by fishing poles. I was surrounded by old gallon water jugs and tools and my golf clubs and my husband's chainsaws and lawnmowers and I can't forget his Buick that he's was tinkering with and working on. The Buick was like right next to me. And if you had been in that garage with me, you would have just like laughed and shook your head, like, look at her working in that little bitty space. But I had my phone and I had my computer, and I was sitting in that little corner and I was reaching out to truck drivers and not just like seeing, but feeling firsthand the very real impacts of the pandemic and what the pandemic did and had on our industry. But then, you know, and back then, everything, it just felt uncertain. We would get a new job as recruiters from trucking companies that were looking for drivers, and then that job would change, and then that job would close, and not just like, in a couple days or a couple weeks, in the next hour. We would get new hiring guidelines from companies, and then it would change in the next hour. We would get new pay updates for new positions and new postings. And then a few hours later, they would change again. The only thing that we were sure of was that things were going to change and that we had to be ready for them. And in the beginning of COVID, it felt like I was like a motivational speaker because I was talking to drivers, and I'd be talking to drivers that had been with companies for like 20 years. And then they weren't sure if they would be going to work the next day. I'd speak with a new driver who had been like really, really excited about going to school and getting their Class A CDL. But then to find out that school was closing and they weren't even sure if they were going to be able to get their CDL. And then things kind of shifted. It was like the world realized that, hey, these truck drivers, they're keeping us afloat. They're the ones they're the backbone. They're keeping the country moving. Even though we're sitting in our houses and I'm in my garage, they're keeping the company moving. They're keeping the industry and the economy moving. And it was during COVID that I started my YouTube journey. And it was a journey of education. For me, it was education because I started talking to so many drivers. They just weren't sure about positions, about openings, about how to enter into the industry and what to do and learn about pay and what's a sign on bonus and all of these things. And if you go back to like some of my early YouTube videos from that time, you're going to see that setup in the garage. You might see a little fishing pole in the background. If you see it, let me know. It might not be like obvious at first, but that's where I was. I was right in the garage, right in the middle of everything. And it was a tough time. And I was adapting live, and I was adapting on phone calls, and my team was adapting on phone calls, and we were pivoting and we were adjusting. And on YouTube, I was talking about new topics that were important in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of COVID. I wasn't just dealing with changes. I was learning from them. I was teaching myself how to grow and how to adapt and how to adjust and how to pivot from these real time changes. And that experience, it taught me a very, very important lesson. The lesson that I learned is that change is inevitable. It's going to happen. But growth is a choice, a deliberate path that we choose every single day. And as I look at the future of trucking, as I think about, where the industry is going, there's a few things that are very, very clear to me. And I want to make them clear to you as well. The first is that the industry is changing rapidly. With the advances that we're seeing in autonomous technology, in new technology, in automation, things are changing very, very quickly. We're seeing new states open up to autonomous trucking, to new automations. These changes are inevitable. But by welcoming these changes and by actively seeking to understand them, because it's not a matter of if they will come, they are here. They're already here. And so when you open up yourself to seek to understand the changes that are coming, the changes that are here, you put yourself in a position to grow and you put yourself in a position to succeed. Because remember, change is inevitable, but we grow on purpose. We grow on purpose. And I want you to be intentional with your growth. I want you to be growing on purpose. And so you're here because you want to grow. You're here because this is your place for growth. And I'm so happy that you're here. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jerri, and I own a recruitment and education agency where we focus on two things. The first is driver recruitment, connecting you with truck driving jobs that we have with our partner companies. The second is education. As you heard, I started educating way back in the middle of COVID, in the middle of my garage, and it was educating drivers and helping them to succeed and excel and elevate in a time where things were tough and things were uncertain. Fast forward to today, fast forward to right now, I continue to educate and I continue to help you to excel, to understand the new future, to understand what is happening and how you can future proof your career and future proof yourself for this new transition that we're moving in, this new future. If you have not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you are connected with me across all of my platforms. Look for Jerri Banks and Future of Trucking. This show is navigating the future of trucking. And on this show, we talk about a lot of things, but particularly automation and autonomy and new technologies that's entering into our trucking industry. I share traditional truck driving jobs. I share automation news. I share jobs in the autonomous sector where you can take your current skills and combine them with new skills that you learn and become a game changer at a company. And then lastly, we have a learning lane. And in the learning lane, I share actionable tips that you can use right now to help you start to upskill and reskill for the new future that our industry is moving into. If you have not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so that you never miss a live, so that you never miss a new video that we drop as well. I want to recognize our guests, our audience. Thank you so much for being here. Katrina says, good morning. Good morning, Katrina. Thank you so much for being here. Great things coming. Great things coming with Katrina. You guys will be learning more about that in the future. Mr. Leonard, hello, Mr. Leonard. Mr. Leonard is our biggest supporter. He is always here every morning. Mr. Leonard says, "Good morning, Miss Jerry. What's happening, everybody? Rackham, hello." And then I would be remiss if I did not say hello to all my friends on TikTok. Hello, everyone. Look, they get the behind the scenes. They get to see everything that's going on between the breaks and all of those things. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. I want to recognize today's show. So, today's show is brought to you by the team at texascaraccidents.com. Again, that's www.texascaraccidents.com. Dustin and the team over there, look, they are so full of knowledge. After an accident, he says that there's five key questions that you need to ask yourself to see if you even have a case. And these are key questions that can be found on their website by visiting www.texascaraccidents.com. And that is that is our sponsor for the show for the entire month of May. So I want to thank you, Dustin and team. Their website is a wealth of information. Make sure you tell him that you heard about it, the show right here on Navigating the Future of Trucking with me, your host, Jerri Banks. Again, we have it right here. Again, it's texascaraccidents.com. And if your company is interested in being a sponsor of the show or learning more about how you can get your business in front of our audience, send an email to my team. And I'll have the email here scrolling on the screen. But the email is Jerri at transporteqpro.com. And so the team will help you out. And thank you again, texascaraccidents.com, so much for being our sponsor for the week. We have a very, very action-packed show today. We're going to be talking about Aurora's recent article. They released an article on how autonomous trucks can help to fight climate change. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about autonomous trucks and how they're a topic of the state legislative efforts, particularly Kentucky. I'm going to kind of go into that. I'm going to talk about some platooning. You know what platooning means? Go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you don't, stick around. I'm going to talk about it. And then I have a traditional team truck driving job that I'm going to share. It's a dedicated lease purchase. If you are interested and you've been thinking about you and your partner already paired, you've been thinking about doing a lease purchase, stick around because I'm going to talk about a great opportunity that our recruiting department has. And then different levels of autonomy. So in the learning lane, I'm going to go over different levels of autonomy. And then that will kind of help you get a very good understanding of the different levels of autonomy. So stick around. I'll be right back.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms, Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
Awesome, awesome. We're going to go right into the research that Aurora has done in regards to climate change and how autonomous trucks can reduce emissions and fight climate change. So let's talk about it. Let me make sure. Oh, yep, I do have the article up. So this article again, it's from Aurora Innovation. If you missed the spotlight on them, I did a spotlight on them last week. I can't remember the episode, but you need to go watch all of the episodes. Go back and check out all of the episodes that I've been doing. Again, I'm here every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. But this article was just released this week, and it highlights the potential of autonomous trucking technology and how it will reduce the environmental impact of the trucking industry. And so, just a few key highlights. The transportation sector, particularly medium and heavy duty trucks, it's a major contributor. As you know, it's a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, pollution, and it poses a significant challenge in our fight for climate change. And so, autonomous truck and their technology offers several ways to improve energy efficiency and reducing some of these greenhouse gas emissions. And how? So how is optimizing highway speeds? So compared to a traditional truck, an autonomous truck gets great fuel savings by maintaining a consistent and fuel efficient speed. That's one way. They reduce idling, so they can minimize their idling time. Of course, for a trucking company, is a major source of saving fuel, but it's also a major source of fuel waste in the trucking industry. So you have all of that idling time. So autonomous trucks reduce that idling time. And then traffic reduction. Autonomous trucks can operate during off peak hours, leading to a smoother traffic flow and reduced fuel use for all of the vehicles on the road. So those are just some of the ways in which autonomous trucks on the roads are going to reduce and help with climate change, help with lowering pollution and things of that nature. So Aurora, this article talks about Aurora's overall commitment, and I love their bringing autonomous trucking safely and broadly. Aurora Innovation, they're developing their autonomous technology, and their focus again is on safety, it's on efficiency, and it's on sustainability. And overall, their efforts are going to contribute to a future with cleaner and more efficient trucks, more efficient transportation, and a more efficient and more greener transportation industry. So that report was just released, and I'll make sure that that link is on in the description box. So if you're interested in viewing that entire report that was released by Aurora Innovation, definitely check out the link in the description box because it'll give you a more in-depth view of how autonomous trucks and what they're going to be doing to be able to reduce the impact on our environment, because I want the environment to, be sustainable for my kids, for my grandkids, and down mine. So that's important to me, and it should be important to you. Moving right along, so I want to share a article with you, and this is courtesy of Landline magazine, Landline, the Landline Media. And so this article is titled, it was just released on Monday. It's titled, Autonomous Trucks Are the Topic of State Legislative Efforts. And just a few key highlights from this article. It talks about the ongoing debate surrounding, of course, autonomous trucking regulations in several states, and the initial safety concerns of OIDA and groups like the Teamsters Union. They're expressing their concerns about safety implications of autonomous trucks and their potential impact to the livelihood of drivers. So their goal is to keep the driver, of course, in the truck. That is the goal of Teamsters, and wanted to learn more and know more about it. This article kind of hits and highlights that. It also talks about the governor of Kentucky, his veto. He tried to veto due to safety concerns. So the Kentucky legislature passed a bill allowing fully autonomous truck platooning with certain limitations. And so, what is platooning? A lot of people don't know what platooning is, and I'm gonna kind of talk about that and show you a couple of pictures so you can kind of see what platooning is. When I think of platooning, I don't know, for some reason I think of MASH, the old TV show MASH. I don't know why I think of that, but platooning gives me like military type vibes or something. I don't know. But so basically, what platooning is, it's a driving technique. And it's where multiple trucks, I'm going to pull up a picture here so that you can see what trucks look like when they're in a platooning formation. And so Kentucky passed a bill allowing fully autonomous trucks to platoon with certain limitations. So let me pull up that picture so that I can show you what platooning looks like. Platooning looks like this. It's when trucks are in formation, and it's a driving technique where multiple trucks follow each other very closely on the road, forming a platoon. And this is made possible through vehicle to vehicle communication technology and ADAS. ADAS, we talked about it last week in last week's show. Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, ADAS. And so, between the vehicle to vehicle communication technology and ADAS, the Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, these trucks are able to platoon, and they're able to maintain a set distance between each other, automatically adjusting their speed and adjusting their braking to remain in sync. And so I thought this was really interesting, that the state of Kentucky has um, passed a bill allowing fully autonomous truck platooning, and of course with certain limitations. But this move, it reflects the state's interest in embracing autonomous technology, but still focusing on initial safety precautions and learning and understanding more about it. So this is new, and let me show you this other graphic that I found in regards to platooning. So again, basically, it just kind of it's a graphic that kind of talks about, shows the platoon leader. It shows a gap, and in that gap, there's radar and lidar that the autonomous trucks utilize, and then there's platoon follower one, and then platoon follower two. And in between the following is a gap of radar and lidar. Now, over the top is a full wireless vehicle to vehicle communication. So they communicate with each other between vehicle to vehicle, and they're synchronizing their braking, and they're synchronizing their speeding in order to stay the safe distance, in order to stay together. But this is platooning, and this is what platooning looks like. And this has been passed in the state of Kentucky, of course, with certain limitations. Um, this has been passed. Now, getting back to the article, let me get that article back up there for you. There you go. There you go. So, getting back to the article, autonomous trucks are the topic of legislative efforts. I want to talk about California, um, and their push for human oversight. So, there is an assembly member that it talks about in the article, Cecilia Aguilar Curry. She's spearheading efforts to require human safety operators in the autonomous truck. So, California, again, is one of the states that is um, wanting to ensure that the safety operator stays in the truck. And their concerns are around public safety and the potential displacement of truck drivers. That's what's driving this initiative. And so, again, this is information so that you can take, you can use, you can digest, and learn on about how you can continue to make yourself valuable. Moving right along in the article, it's about South Dakota. So we talked about California and then down to South Dakota. So South Dakota has enacted a legislation allowing fully autonomous vehicles. And fully autonomous means it operates without a human driver. So we talked about last week all of the states that allow autonomous trucks, whether it's testing or whether it's deployment. South Dakota is one that allows fully autonomy, including commercial trucks, not just your robo taxis or your Ubers. Um, Fully autonomous trucks are included in that to operate without the human driver. And for South Dakota, this demonstrates a proactive approach towards integrating that autonomous technology into their state's transportation system, their state's transportation infrastructure. So these articles such as this, I share them so that you are aware, so that you know what information is out there, what information is, how you can learn, what places you can go, what newsletters you should be signing up for, in order to be able to learn more about the future, the right now trucking that's happening, the right now that's happening. So let's take a break. When we come back, I'll be talking about a traditional truck driving job that I think if you're a team driver, I think you might like.
When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry.
I'd like to thank our show's sponsor. Today, our show is sponsored by Texas Car Accidents. TexasCarAccidents.com with an S. After an accident, there's 5 key questions that you need to ask yourself to see if you even have a case. Even if you're not in Texas, this could be very helpful for you and a great place to start if you ever find yourself involved in an accident. Their website is a wealth of information, and our partner is Dustin over there. Make sure you tell him that you heard about TexasCarAccidents.com right here on Navigating the Future of Trucking with me, Jerri Banks. And welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on those notifications so that you never miss an opportunity when I go live, or so that you never miss an opportunity when I release a new video. Let's move right into our learning lane. This is probably my favorite part of the show because I get to share information that hopefully you may not already know, but you're going to go take that information, that little bit of information that I share, and you're going to go and do more research and take it to another level. In today's learning lane, we're going to be talking about the levels of autonomous, the levels of autonomy. But before we move into the levels of autonomy, I want to talk about a traditional truck driving job. So, as you know, I share traditional truck driving jobs. These are jobs that our company works and partners very closely with trucking companies across the US to help them fill their open seats, to help them fill their open positions. And this is a position, it is a dedicated account. Dedicated, for those of you that don't know, dedicated means that you're going to go and deliver at the same stores for the same type of company. For example, this particular account isn't Walmart, but for example, if you're dedicated to Walmart, you're just going to be dedicated to Walmart. Okay. So that's what dedicated means. Dedicated means you're going to be doing more than likely the same thing most of the time, the same times, and delivering to and seeing the same people at the stores. And I think that's really good, and it's important because you get to build a relationship with those people at the store. You get to build a relationship, and it's a great opportunity for you to be able to share and utilize your stellar customer service skills, those skills that we talked about last week, following up, resolving conflict, and things of that nature. And so when you are on a dedicated account, you get to practice those customer service skills. So this position, it is a dedicated account, and drivers are out 2 weeks at a time. And on this particular account, you're going to be running either in the West, because you may be doing California, you may be doing Nevada, Utah, but you're also could be running east of I 35. So, east of I 35, you're typically out 2 weeks at a time. And let's see here if I can pull up on the screen. Actually, let's take a break. Let's take a break. And when we come back, I'll share more about this position.
When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry. I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms. Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry.
Traditional truck driving job. Again, it is a dedicated lease purchase team run. So it's open for not just lease purchase. If you want to lease, you already have your partner and you want to lease the truck, it's also open to owner operators. So if you already got your own truck, you want to get on a company and you want to run, this is a great opportunity. And so it runs in New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Arizona. That's the West Coast, Arizona, Nevada, and California. It is drop and hook on both ends, picking up and dropping off. It's all drop and hook. No multiple stop runs. And you're going to be out for 2 weeks at a time, running at least 5,000 miles a week. And again, this is a team run. And typically after expenses, drivers are averaging anywhere from $2,500 to $2,800 per driver. Okay, this is 25 to 2,800 per driver on the lease purchase. All right. So if this is something that you might be interested in, give my team a call. Text, it's already on the bottom of the screen. Text Team Run, TEAMRUN, to 832-572-5277. If you already have your partner, if you are already ready to go and you're interested, we have to make sure that you qualify. We have to make sure you meet the company's qualifications, and we have to ensure that you are in the hiring area. Okay, you have to be in the hiring area for this particular, again, it's a dedicated lease purchase team opportunity. Text Team Run, and the girls are standing by to help you get started on this team position. So, before we move on to our learning lane, I want to talk about an ebook. This is an ebook that I wrote, and this ebook is going to be your go to. It's going to lay the foundation for you in all things future of trucking, in all things autonomous trucking. And I think that I've got actually the information scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And I want to share with you if I can share the cover of the ebook. Let me share that. Oh, there it is. It's already there. Okay. My team's awesome. So, preparing the ebook's called Preparing You for Autonomous Trucks Entering the Transportation Industry. And what it does is it gives you, like I said, it lays the foundation and gives you an in depth overview of the new future, of how you can prepare. And so I wrote this book. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna selfishly say I wrote this book for my kids. Okay. However, they listen to me sometimes, most of them, and sometimes they don't. But they probably like get tired of me like always telling them about, the future and what they need to be preparing for, and what they need to be doing, and they wanted me to share it with somebody else. Okay. And so that's why I wrote the book. That's why I started it. And it really gives you a really good foundation in understanding and being able to navigate. Um, Talks about what autonomous trucks are, which I'm going to go into that here right now in just a few seconds about the different levels. What are the benefits? Are they already on the roads? Who are the top 5 autonomous developers out there? What's in it for you, the driver? I have a son who's a driver, so I share with him what's in it for you because you want to know what's in it for you. Everybody want to know what's in it for you. You want to know how your job role is going to change, what roles are not going to be affected, and if there's any technical training that's already out there. This book, this free ebook that you can download, has all the information. It lays the foundation and it is a great start for you. So, if you haven't already downloaded the book, make sure you download it. Make sure that you are already tapped in to that book. Okay. And there it is, preparing you for autonomous trucks entering the transportation industry. All right, let's move right into our learning lane. Again, the learning lane is a place where, like I said earlier, it's my favorite part of the show, and it's a place where you can learn, you can, tap into new concepts, new ideas, new skills that I want you to put in your toolbox. Okay, and then take them and pull them out when you need them. And it's better to have these skills and have this knowledge than be surprised later on down the road. So today we're talking about levels of autonomy, the different levels of autonomy, and what that looks like. And I'm going to pull up a graphic, and this graphic is courtesy of SAE. SAE stands for Society of Automobile Engineers, and I've got their website right here on the screen as well. SAE, Society of Automobile Engineers, and basically they're the people that you go to. They're the experts. They're the experts in everything autonomy, in everything ADAS, in anything in regards to automobiles and mobility. They're the experts. And so they have classes, they have all types of opportunities that you can go and learn more about it. And so let's start at level zero. Let's start at level zero. So basically, your level zero is going to be your standard car. This is the car everybody's driving. It's the car we started driving. And you're in complete control. You steer, you brake, you speed up, you slow down, you make all the decisions. There might be some basic safety features like automatic emergency braking, but ultimately, you're the one that's driving. And then level one. Level one autonomy is essentially the car starts to lend a hand, starts to help you out. It has features like adaptive cruise control, or keeping in the lane, lane keeping assistance. These are systems that help you with um, an aspect of driving, but you still have to handle everything else. They only help you with a few small aspects. And then you have level two, which is essentially partial automation. Imagine the car steering and adjusting its speed on the highway while you're keeping an eye on things. That's level two. That's where the car can control both the steering and the speed, but you need to be ready to take over in the event of an emergency or in the event of something. Okay. And then we have level three. Level three is conditional automation. This level allows the car to make some decisions basically on its own, like passing a slow moving vehicle. But you, as the driver, still need to stay alert. You still need to be prepared to take control in the event that the system encounters like a situation or an emergency or something that it can't handle. You have to be in control. That is our level three. And then level four, which is high automation, very high automation. It's on the green side. In level four, think of self-driving those robo taxis. If you haven't saw my video on TikTok where I got in a Waymo car and I rode in a self-driving taxi, think of this as level four, the self-driving taxi operating within a specific area. They can handle level four can handle most driving situations independently, but a human driver might be needed in certain cases. And then level five, that's the ultimate goal. Level five is your fully self driving car, truck, military vehicle where they can drive anywhere under any conditions without a driver, without human intervention. They're like a robot driving you. Okay, it's like a robot taxi, robot chauffeur. It frees you from the task of driving entirely. You don't do anything. That is your fully level five. So these are the different levels of autonomy. This chart, again, it's by SAE International. SAE stands for Society of Automobile Engineers. Their website is right here on the screen. Make sure you go and check them out. They've got a wealth of information. Their website's a wealth of knowledge, and it provides you an understanding, a simplified understanding of the different levels of driving automation, the different levels of autonomy. It's again SAE, Society of Automobile Engineers, and that is their website right here. All right, that wraps up our show for today. And I want to know what you learned. What did you learn today? What resonated throughout the show? What stood out to you? I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your feedback. I want to make sure that you are subscribed so that you never miss a live. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you? Special thanks to the sponsor of our show today, Dustin and the team over at TexasCarAccidents.com. Make sure that you guys check them out. 5 questions that you need to ask yourself in the event of an emergency, in the event of an accident. 5 questions that you need to ask yourself. All right. Again, make sure you subscribe, make sure you turn on notifications, make sure that you never ever miss a live. Hello to everyone that watched the show. Hello to everyone on TikTok. I want to just recognize some of my comments. Mr. Leonard says military trucking. Yes, platooning. That is platooning. That is your platooning, military trucking. And DJ says, and I love this question because I want to answer it. I want to address it. I want to answer it for you. DJ says, so it's pointless getting a CDL now. The answer is absolutely no. Absolutely not. Your CDL is going to take you places. Well, let me say this. Your CDL combined with all the other skills that you learn are going to take you places that you never even dreamed of. You've already got a leg in. If you've got your CDL, you've already got a leg in. You're already learning. You already are an expert in truck driving. You're going to take that knowledge and you're going to elevate it. You're going to take it to another level. And so, no, it's not pointless. Go get your CDL. Go get your CDL because it's going to take you to new heights. It's going to your CD drivers are not cannot be replaced. Drivers cannot be replaced. Our show is your foundation for the future. It's helping you to prepare you for what is to come so that you can aid because you will be a in conjunction with the new future that we're moving into. So never think that you're going to be replaced. You won't be replaced, but you do need to learn skills. You do need to upskill. You do need to reskill. There are things that you need to prepare for. There are things that you need to learn. And it's going to start with your soft skills. And if you missed some of our shows last week, make sure you go and check them out because I talk about those skills that are going to help you to excel. And they're not the required box checking skills that trucking companies currently do, like your driving record, your MVR, your PSP, your DAC report, all of those reports where we're checking boxes and making sure you fit in those boxes. There's other boxes that you're going to need to fit in. And that looks like being a good communicator. It looks like being able to work in teams. It looks like being able to adapt and pivot. It looks like local opportunities, more local jobs, delivering locally. It looks like delivering regional. And is this going to happen across the United States at one time? No. It will be a gradual integration. We'll see a gradual integration. Will some people get left behind because they aren't prepared? Yeah, that's a reality. But that reality has happened across the face of time. That's why I started the show talking to you about change. Change is inevitable. You grow on purpose. Let me say that again for those in the back that didn't hear it. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen. It has happened in my lifetime, in your lifetime, in our parents' lifetime, in their parents' lifetime. Change happens, but we grow with intention. We grow with purpose. And so, my purpose of being here is to help you grow with intention. It's to help you grow with purpose because we're not getting left behind. That's why we're here. So if you don't already subscribe, make sure you subscribe because you will always be up to date. You will always be in the know of everything that we know, we share. Everything that we learn, it's in our workshops. It's going to be in our webinars, in our live classes that we host and we have. So make sure you're tapped in. Thank you guys so much for joining the show. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place.